Good day, fellas. I hope you are ready for your daily dose of skill. Today, we are going to talk about the tier 8 premium tanks, everything from light tank to tank destroyer, and I will tell you the tanks which I would personally avoid buying, and I would not even look towards that direction because, well, all of the tanks are tier 8s, but they are very, very different, right? CDC and Baza 176 and so on. I'm not going to go in depth speaking about, oh, this is the tank you need to buy, this is the tank you do not need to buy. I will go only for the tanks which I would avoid, and if all tanks are okay-ish, right, in the category as light tanks, I will say which one, in my opinion, is the worst, even though it can still do the job, right? So this is very important thing. Also, in the same time, fellas, index page is there for you. Always check out description down below, or alternatively just type in the Google skill for L2 index. You will find this beautiful page, and hopefully it will give you a lot of information. So now, without further ado, let's start our journey. And the first tanks I want to deal with are the light tanks, right? There is very little of them speaking about the premium versions, and all of them can do the job, okay? Some of the tanks are better for doing damage. Some of the light tanks are way better for spotting, right? But truth to be told, all of the light tanks are okay, and all of the light tanks are playable. If I need to select one tank which I would avoid, it is T92. Skill, what are you talking about? I bought my T92 from the Bone store, and I think it is awesome. I respect your opinion, fellas. I hear this before, trust me on this one. But honestly speaking, there is nothing what this tank does better than LT432. It's just how it goes, and plus on top of that, if it is not enough, if you would pay attention at the price of the gold ammunition, 5,600 for 150 alpha damage. I mean, I do not even want to talk about this. But all in all light tanks have their own features, and all light tanks are okay in the certain extent. Medium tanks, fellas. And let's start everything with a Panther 88. Once again, I really want to highlight this. I won't go in depth why Object is good and why Panther is bad. This is not what this video is all about. This video is all about the tanks to avoid, in my humble opinion. Panther 88. A brick with okay gun, and still it is debatable how good that is. DPM is good, everything else is kind of meh in my humble opinion. Plus on top of that, you are still a brick. If you want to have some kind of sniper schnitzel and you are looking to the Germans, Schmutz is the way to go, and it is a bit better, right? This is an alternative option. After that, we have a shovel, absolutely pile of kaku in my opinion. It has absolutely nothing to offer, and I know there is people who are memeing with a shovel and haha. Well, truth to be told, this tank is not good. You are slow, your armor doesn't hold, it's just not a good tank. It doesn't really matter how you are going to look into it, right? It is very important thing to highlight. After that, we have a pilot waiting in line. Pilot is outdated tank. It is in the game since 2014 or 2015 when it came up. It was like a faster Pershing. Nowadays it is just useless. And don't get me wrong, I like this tank, I love this tank. When I played with it long time ago, I performed okay with it, and I still enjoy this vehicle, right? But I cannot recommend for people to buy it. Just simply avoid it because it has absolutely nothing to offer. Same goes for T95 Echo 2, even though it is not the tank which was on sale. But if it would have, if this tank would come on sale, right, because you never know when Wargaming will do crazy things like this, avoid it. It's just not good tank. It is just not a great vehicle. Also, one more thing, this tank is not a premium tank, this is a Revar tank, right? So this is important thing to say. Moving on next, Patton Kier, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Same situation with a pilot, it came up a long time ago. I love this tank when it just came out. I truly enjoy this vehicle, but now the time is gone, and unfortunately it is just not a great vehicle. It is just outdated, right? That's all there is to say. Next tank in the list is absolutely amazing, fellas, CDC. And now I really want to show you how good Wargaming is at selling their products and why am I making this video in the first place. Be aware, fellas, CDC, with a name that translates Hunter of the Tanks, it is fitting the CDC has mobility of the 57 kilometers per hour. It has the highest power to weight ratio of any medium tank, allowing expertly reach elevated positions to take advantage of this. Minus 10 degrees of the gun depression and good penetration. Relatively fast rate of fire. In other words, it's not that great, but you need to say something about the gun. And high 90 shell capacity give its prey even more reason to be fearful. Is it 2012? What is this? What is this, fellas? What is this? So, please, fellas, be aware of that. For Wargaming to sell you stuff, they are going to promise the mountain of the gold, okay? It is nuts how they are selling the tanks, okay? And obviously, let's say that straight CDC, completely outdated tank, you can get penetrated with high explosives, you can get penetrated by the art. We have a thing called intuition. You are seeing CDC, you are clicking 332 times, you are penetrating it with high explosives. Completely useless tank, but I thought it is going to be a good idea just to laugh from Wargaming sale pitch over there. Whoever is writing this, kudos to you. You know how to sell your product, but truth to be told, it is just not the tank which I would ever recommend for anyone to buy. Moving on, next we have 59 Patton. I mean, if you haven't noticed that yet, it has UFO on top of the turret, right? If you would check out how it is looking like, pretty much this is the second turret, literally. Good luck playing with this on the ridgeline, and even though I don't mind this tank, I honestly don't, and I can't play with it. I just simply recommend for people to avoid it at all costs and never ever look into this vehicle with eyes of money, just don't do that. It's not a great tank, right? After that, we have Primo Victoria and Esterva, which is pretty much the same tank, but it has different crew members in it. Avoid it because it is like Centurion from the Tech 3. It is just not great tank. It is outdated in my humble opinion, and there used to be a time when I used to enjoy playing with those, and I had a very good time playing with them. In fact, I felt like the gun treated me so much better than as an example, Centurion, even though it is a better tank, right? I just felt like Primo Victoria was a good vehicle. Lately, I played with it, and I felt like I am wiping the floor of the game. Everyone was using me as a punch bag, and it is just not great vehicle nowadays, and please avoid it. I know it comes with a Sabaton crew and everything. If you are into the Sabaton, maybe that is the way. Why would you ever consider it? But other than that, fellas, just simply avoid. This is not the tank which I would highly recommend to get for anyone, okay? It is my opinion, and I really want to push this out of the way. Now, another tank which is probably controversial because I know some old school players are loving it, for 202. On the paper, it looks nice. Visually, it looks nice. It looks like you should be able to bounce some shells, but truth to be told, in World of Tanks in 2023, everyone will spank you in the face. But still, if you are using the gun depression to a certain extent, there is a theory, no one will penetrate. Stop this nonsense. People will outgo and people will spank you literally in the frontal mantlet, right? It is just bad tank. Neither it's fast, neither it's accurate for my liking, and alpha damage is not so great either. In other words, avoid this tank. I don't know what kind of sales pitch Wargaming will use for this one. Probably hold down warrior unpenetratable beast while using its minus 10 degrees of the gun depression, right? But once again, just avoid this vehicle. It is not the tank which I would recommend for anyone to buy. Also, one more thing. This is probably going to be the most controversial out of mediums. It is Skoda T27. Now, hear me out. Skill, why would you say something like this? Truth to be told, Progetto is better in every possible way, shape, or form. So what that means, why would you get Skoda for yourself when Progetto is simply so much better, right? This is the thing. So you will get more worth of your money if you will go to your local kebab store and order double kebab for yourself instead of buying this vehicle and leaving it to rotten in the garage and to collect the dust. It is just not the vehicle which I recommend. And yes, you can play okay with this vehicle in a way, but I am instantly saying Progetto is better, and since Progetto is better, there is no way I would recommend this vehicle for anyone. And last but not least, we have Chieftain T95. You can craft this vehicle from the Clan War store or however it's called, you know. Sometimes this vehicle is on sale separately, if I'm not mistaken, but it is just not the great vehicle. I think it is completely outdated, and in fact, I don't really think it ever been a great vehicle to begin with, right? You have a humongous cupola on top, your gun is far away from being accurate, at least in my humble opinion, and in the same time, armor of this vehicle is junk apart the pieces on the turret, right? The turret overall is strong, but other than that, everyone will spank you into the cupola, and they will penetrate you through the hole. So honestly, if you can buy anything else, get yourself anything else apart the Chieftain T95. And that's what we have from the mediums. I hope, fellas, it is informative, and I'm trying to be as quick as possible and express my feelings towards one or another tank, and I hope, fellas, this is going to be useful for your future purchases. Anyways, let's go for tank destroyers. Tank destroyers it is. So the worst out of the worst, speaking about the tank destroyers, I would say Khan Panzer would win this title. And don't get tricked, fellas, there is Khan Panzer 105 with 105mm gun and with 390 alpha damage with great shell velocity and whatnot, right? And there is other version which hasn't been on sale for a very, very long time, and this is the same vehicle but with 240 alpha damage gun, kind of mecha, shell velocity, bad penetration with a gold as well. It's just tank to avoid, and if Wargaming ever sell it, just simply ignore it and do not get this vehicle for yourself, because it is just not the way to go, right? After that, we have the Jack Tiger 88. I think this vehicle can work in certain situations, but all and all, it is kind of outdated tank, and if you really want to have yourself armored tank destroyer, TS5 the way to go, right? TS5 is just simply so much better. You have twice bigger alpha damage, and you have significantly more armor to begin with, right? So this is very, very important thing to highlight overall. After that, we have a Turtle, which I really want to highlight as well. No, but skill Turtle, what do you mean? It has astonishing armor, yeah, and it has 24 kilometers per hour speed with a turbo. So without turbo, you have 20 kilometers per hour speed. Skill, what that means? That means with a current 15 to 1 games, you are not even going to get into the position in time, to say that the least. So if you like to stick around the base and do absolutely nothing, maybe this tank is not that bad in this situation, right? And if you like to miss your shots, but don't worry, your DPM is pretty good, so you will reload another one to miss the other shot as well. Obviously, jokes aside, this tank should be played when playing hull down and while using your gun depression to the maximum. Armor, obviously, of this vehicle is decent, but it is just simply too slow to the current game. And once again, you want a very, very well armored tank, TS5 is the way to go. I am trying to give alternative options for those vehicles as well, right? After that, we have brother ISUs. ISU 130, it is available in the NAS server. In EU server, it is not available pretty much. It is not that great tank. It is like you know how I would describe this vehicle? Like Su-100i of the Tier 8. It has very, very interesting gun. Interesting doesn't mean good, by the way. You have 240 millimeters of penetration with a standard ammunition. You have 212 millimeters of penetration with gold, but you have a bit more alpha damage, right? Pretty much, in my opinion, it's just outdated and it is just not a great tank. There is nothing to say into it. Now, other tank in the list which I truly want to spank, like honestly, spank, it is ISU 152K. The main reason why I do not recommend this vehicle because this gun is made in Pirosami factory. I meant to say this gun is made in hell. To say that the least, fellas, this gun can treat you like the princess, you know, all flowers, all chocolate, all castles are yours, you know, and you are just with your hair going like this, right? But there is games when you cannot hit anything. You can stick your gun up the enemy booty and you are going to miss your shots, right? This is extremely important thing to highlight, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a great tank, and if you really feel like you want that 750 alpha damage gun, right, play with a normal ISU. You will save a lot of money for yourself, and hopefully this will treat you so much better. Well, at least that's what I think. Obviously, if you disagree with some of my opinions, fellas, comment section down below is here for you, and hopefully you will spank me and say, Skill, how could you to say that about my ISU? And last but not least, I must admit this is on question mark for me, right, still, because I haven't marketed it yet, but KV4 KTTS is not the tank which I enjoyed at first, and I do not really think this tank is that great. But this is with a question mark, okay? I really want to be honest with you. I like to talk with the things which I know, and this vehicle is just kind of meh, to say that the least, right? But once again, this is with a question mark. Also, one honorable mention. I know this will surprise many of you, but I am also with a question mark about the AMX CDA. This gun is absolutely nightmare. The tank platform is fine, the speed is fine, the camo is fine, everything is okay with this. But what is not okay, in my humble opinion, is this gun. Even if you are close or you are in the long range, you cannot hit anything. And even though the accuracy on the paper is 0.27, it means absolutely nothing if you cannot hit, right? So I really want to highlight this one. It is still on the question mark. I still think there is worst tank destroyers out there. But I just really wanted to mention this. This is the feelings which I have for this tank, okay? So, without further ado, heavy tanks. There is quite some of them. Heavy tank time. Let's start everything with the VK7501K. The tank goal overall is to get the corner and side scrap. Show only your shoulder and the face a bit. But truth to be told, fellas, I truly hated this gun accuracy. It treated me extremely badly, and the armor is not that good. That's why I think you should never ever buy this tank. I get the point of the discussion, the alpha damage is nice of this vehicle. Yes, what's from that if you cannot hit your shots or you cannot connect your shots? It is in a way like ISU 152K. I just do not recommend this tank. If you like this vehicle, I salute you, but I would not recommend for anyone to buy it. Moving on, next, same goes for a mocher breaker or ball breaker, as I like to call it. It is not a great tank overall. Armor is not that great, right? In fact, everyone can penetrate you in the face, and yes, this is your face, and that is a big face, you know? Everyone can simply spank you, especially tier 8s plus, and if people cannot penetrate you frontally, they can hit you, your cupola, right? And it is huge. There is two versions of this tank. Try to avoid it, and please do not even consider buying this tank. You will thank me later. Moving on next, we have IS-5, and IS-5, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, is far away from being perfect, to say that the least. I know the tank shape is kind of looking like IS-3 in a way, and the gun is looking kind of okay, but unfortunately the tank is just simply a caco, and the main reason being is you will miss the barn being inside in the barn. The gun handling of this vehicle is brutal, and in my opinion this vehicle is pretty much unplayable, even though lately this vehicle received a buff. By saying lately, it is quite a wide term. I mean like a half year ago or 1 year ago. It is still the same caco. I do not recommend this vehicle. Save your bonds, save your money. This is important thing to say. Also, we have another Russian heavy tank, which unfortunately I do not have, but I think I know the way how to check it out. Here we go. Kirovets 1. I must admit I have not played with this vehicle yet, right? But from what I've seen, from what I heard from the people, it is pretty much IS-5 gun mounted on the double penetrator platform. This is what this tank is. I would highly avoid to pay for this vehicle, and in fact this tank has quite a bit of the drama surrounding it. So how the things were looking like, Wargaming was selling this vehicle in the trading caravan, and in order to get ability people to buy this vehicle, they needed to spend their resources in order to do the rerolls. It is like a casino spin shit, right? It is very important thing to say, right? So this tank has a shady past, to say that the least, and in the same time tank is not that great. So why would you buy a vehicle which is just simply not performing that great and which is not so good, right? I really want to put this out of the way. After that, we have VZ111 and Alpine Tiger. I must admit, Alpine Tiger is looking extremely great. I mean, look at this 3D camo, right? It looks truly great. Samo Welder did a great job while working on it, right? But it is just not great tank, fellas. That's all there is to say. If you really want to have a Chinese heavy tank, go for 112, even though it is extremely derpy gun handling wise. But Alpine Tiger is just less armor and the same derpy gun handling. You know, just avoid this vehicle, to say that the least. Then we have FCM50T, completely outdated tank nowadays, in my opinion. You are a heavy tank, well, you are a medium tank trapped in the heavy body, to say that the least, right? In other words, it is just completely outdated vehicle nowadays, and I do not really think this tank is worth anything. And yes, lately it was buffed a bit and people went nuts. Yay, FCM received some love. The platform is just outdated, you know? It's just... Think about this for a second. This tank can meet BZ. This tank can meet double penetrators. This tank can meet whatever else, right? And you are counted as a heavy tank itself. So it's just, by playing this, you are not only struggling yourself, but giving your team disadvantage, because your team could have something nice in their team, you know? In your spot, right? So avoid it. It's outdated. It is just not the tank which I could recommend for anyone. Now, moving on next, there is extremely important thing to say, Tornwagen. People said it's toxic for the game. It is overpowered. It has no weak spots. No one is playing it nowadays. Skill-wise, so. Answer is extremely simple, fellas. Gun. The DPM of this vehicle is laughable, and the gun handling is just something else, fellas. I remember I just teleported back in the day when I played Tornwagen, and I felt like how my eyebrow started twitching like this, okay? This is how I felt now looking into this tank. just avoid it. It's one trick pony. Your mission whenever you are playing with this tank is to stay hold down and to show only your gun, and still if you are fighting against the higher tiers, they will load the gold and they will penetrate you like there is no tomorrow, unfortunately, but this is the case and this is how it works. One more tank which I want to highlight, well actually two more tanks. ML 1951. I personally hated this tank whenever I was playing with this vehicle for Mark of Excellence, and overall it was extremely painful experience to play with. Skill, why so? The gun handling is made in China, it's just not so good. Even though, you know, you are Swedish, you're supposed to have something, unfortunately you don't. And the armor is laughable as well. You are trying to play hold down, you are thinking I have armor, you are peeking and people are penetrating you straight into the face and straight into the forehead. This is how it looks like. So honestly, stick with ML1 if you really like that tank. It's just ML 1951 is just not the tank which is worth attention whatsoever. And now last but not least, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and probably the most controversial tank out of all is going to be T-34. Now, hear me out. Skill, what are you talking about? Look into this gun, 400 alpha damage, look at the base penetration, it is a great tank to grind credits with. First of all, you are not wrong. If you are hitting your shots and you can penetrate them, hip hip hooray. But overall, there is just simply better tanks in the current world of tanks, right? With this vehicle, you are extremely slow. Your armor is not great. You can get overmatched by everything what is 120mm caliber plus aka 121mm, 122mm and up. Now, if someone will load gold, you can get penetrated pretty much everywhere. Your cheeks, I'm not even speaking about the hull because it's butter. So let's come to the resume of this vehicle, right? What do we have, fellas? We have a slow platform with bad DPM and with inaccurate gun. This is not what you want, fellas. And yes, this vehicle is like a history of World of Tanks. Still back in my days, T-32 was rocking the hills and the sky. Yeah, those days are a long time gone, fellas. If you really want to get something for yourself but can play hold down, right? Just simply get yourself T832. You will have a great gun and you will feel so much better overall as a tank. Now, what I will do, fellas, I will double check the tanks which I spoke with, just not to miss anything, and we will see do I have anything to add. Okay, I have one more tank to talk about, and it is Kerveron Action 10. It is honorable mention, to say that the least of this video, right? The tank has potential. You can, if you will be able to track someone, you will eat him alive, right? But it is a painful tank to play with. Armor is not holding whatsoever. Gun treated me quite badly as well, and I did not really enjoy playing with this tank, and in the same time it felt quite slow as well. So this is the honorable mention for all of you, and fellas, if you watch the video till the end, I hope I saved some money for you, and hopefully you will buy ice cream for yourself instead of buying a pixel in the game. And if you disagree with something, right, feel free to say your comment, feel free to leave your comment down below and say, Skill, I disagree with you. T-34 is the best tank in the World of Tanks and I don't care about anything, and T-34 is the best. You know, feel free to have a polite discussion without going too hard with the words. And hopefully, fellas, I helped you to save a bit of the money, and I hope I made your day just a bit better overall. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Skill is out for today. Peace.